everyone, Shannon here. We are wrapping up our last week of the story series and you are going to love it. But next week, we are starting a brand new series called Better Together. So join us right back here next week to check out all new content. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you can be reminded when those new videos launch on our YouTube channel. Another way to stay connected is to follow our Instagram pages. That way you'll know what's happening at your Resurrection campus and you can stay in the know about all the latest events and make sure to be there in person when we are connected at our different gatherings. All right, get comfy, get cozy, and watch out because story is coming your way.
Hello, Rezlife friends. My name is Taylor Ogden Thomas, and I serve as one of your Rezlife directors. We are finishing up our series called Story. This big story of God started at the beginning with the creation, and we learned that it was good. The story continued as we looked further into the fall. Oh, that's the hard stuff, the stuff that disconnects us from God. As we got along further in the story, we saw that God still, though, had good stuff for us, and He sent His one and only Son, Jesus Christ, who would be the Savior, the Redeemer, the one who would make us all whole again. We explored that every day Jesus extends this invitation to walk side by side with Him. And then we went to church. We see the disciples following Jesus' commands to go into all of the world and make more disciples. We have the opportunity to share the good news here on earth and to invite others into a relationship with Jesus. We were reminded that the church is not just a building, but it is us. And then finally, we got to the end of the story. But did we? We see that in Revelation, God brings it all together and fulfills His promises to restore the world into a new creation. We have the gift to allow ourselves to be made new each and every day. Friends, you are a part of this big story. It's been a journey through the last 5 weeks, so today, as we close up this series, I thought it was only fitting to ask a few of our leaders to share their favorite Bible stories with us. We all love a good story. We're so glad that you've joined us.
Hi guys, Todd here. I get to share one of my favorite parts of the Bible. It's the greatest commandment, but here's why. When I was a young man, my mother-in-law, I wasn't married as a young man, but my now mother-in-law was sharing with me why she loved the Methodist Church. And she reflected that they are so great at making sure people are taken care of, their neighbors are taken care of. So their bellies are full, they have a roof over their head, they are warm, they have the opportunity to get education. And for me, this makes me think about the Great Commandment. Jesus is talking to like the law people, and they ask Him, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus looks at them and says, it is love your God. It's like, okay, that's pretty simple. But then He goes on to say, love your neighbor as yourself. We all want full bellies. We all want a safe place to sleep at night. And when we are able to do that for our neighbor, we are doing what God and Jesus has asked us to do. Love our neighbor as ourselves. What a simple way to think about how God has empowered us to change the world.
Hey Rezlife, Leah from Rezlife Overland Park here. And as we conclude our series on story, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite stories from the Bible. Speaking of Bibles, I have my awesome, well-loved Bible that I've had since 3rd grade. So one of my favorite stories can be found in actually 3 books of the Bible. It can be found in Matthew 9, Mark chapter 2, and Luke chapter 5. It's a story of how Jesus heals the paralytic man. But there's so much to this story. You may remember this. There's a paralytic man and his friends are carrying him on a stretcher. They get to the house in Capernaum where they've heard that Jesus is teaching and preaching, and it is so packed with people that the door is barred closed. There are people everywhere. There's no way they can get in. And instead of feeling discouraged and just turning around and going back the other way, they say, we are going to climb up to the top of this roof, and we're gonna rip that roof off, and we're gonna lower you down so that you can be in the healing, saving, loving presence of Jesus Christ. I think this story is so beautiful because it shows us how we are to be for our friends, right? Pastor Adam has talked about how we can be stretcher bearers for our friends. And instead of getting discouraged and thinking that there's just no way, how do we rip the roof off of seemingly impossible situations and get our friends into the healing, loving presence of Jesus? How do we overcome those obstacles? I think it is by being stretcher bearers and saying, we are by your side and we are going to get you to Jesus no matter what. I hope that you're blessed today. Let's check out what other favorite stories there might be.
One of my favorite stories in the Bible is actually a story at the end of the story. It's John 21, the very end of John. And right at the end of the story, Jesus has died and then he's risen back to life. But while Jesus was being crucified on the cross, it's one of his all-star disciples, Peter, that actually denied his relationship with him. So Jesus dies and then he comes back to life. But during that time, it's Peter that goes back to his old day job as a fisherman. He was kind of thinking, Jesus is gone. I guess this whole story is over. So he goes back to his old job. But then it's Jesus that finds him on the sea in a boat and says, Peter, what are you doing? Come on, follow me. We have work to do. And that begins a new story and a new journey for Peter. And I love that passage, that no matter what, that invitation to follow Jesus is always there. Maybe we take a step away from the story, maybe we're always engaged with it, but Jesus is always saying, come and follow me, like he did to Peter. So students, wherever you are in your journey, may you continue to follow Jesus and accept that invitation on your life.
So that's a wrap. The story is over. Jesus is resurrected and has ascended to God of the universe. Or is it? You see, right before Jesus leaves, he gives us a final commandment. He says, go therefore into all the world and make disciples of love. Oh my goodness. This story, Jesus hands it on to us. And he says, to be continued. How you live out the story will be how other people come to know me. So I encourage you to go therefore and do likewise.
Thanks so much for watching. To connect with the Zoom group, text in now. If you like what we're up to, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Have a great week and see you next time.